schools are girly or manly. The states say that these schools will not grow or develop the same way public schools will, but we have plenty of reasons why it should. It's shown that girls will stop worrying about their looks and focus more on their studies, and boys are able to work without being distracted. In public schools, regularly 7 out of 10 mothers finish high school. So for single-gender schools, dropping pregnancy rates means there might not be mothers finishing high school because they won't be mothers. Both girls and boys would get the same help and more in gender schools. After a test was taken with a camera in class, it was proven that a teacher called more on the boys than the girls. Maybe it was because they were messing around and the teacher wanted to see if they were paying attention, but either way, gender schools will give each gender a fair chance with the teacher. A bad side of this is that tomboys or different people won't fit in, and that girls are more likely to fall into peer pressure, but these schools are designed to help separate genders by their separate learning techniques and will help students later in life. The first reason why gender-specific schools can be a good thing is because it can reduce pregnancy and dropout rates. An article states, 7 out of 10 teen mothers complete high school. That means that 3 out of 10 teen mothers don't get a high school education. An article revealed, meanwhile, their offspring are more likely to have low birth weight and other medical problems, and to be victims of abuse and neglect. Girls in mixed-gender schools report higher levels of victimization of sexual and physical contact. The second reason why gender-specific schools can be a good thing is because each gender can get attention from teachers. Some cameras are put in co-ed classrooms, and it is proven that teachers call them males more than females. Therefore, if there are more single-sex schools, maybe it'd be more equal. In gender-specific schools, females have a chance to strive in male-dominated jobs and or fields without being judged by others for lacking something that males would normally like. The article states, girls do good at girls' schools, not just academically, but in terms of their confidence and approach to challenges, risks, and leadership. Many females have talked about how they are less afraid to share their ideas without boys around. Another reason is because many girls prefer to study in groups with other girls, while boys prefer to study alone. It is also harder to teach each gender because both feel intimidated by the other and don't like to share their ideas in front of the other. And I was addressed, did you know that the optimal classroom temperature for learning is 68 degrees for boys but 74 degrees for girls? This shows that gender-specific schools will be easier for each gender to learn to be successful. This is why gender-specific schools can be good for everyone involved. The third and final reason why gender-specific schools can be a good thing is because females and males can focus on their studies. Girls will also not care about how they look or dress because boys will not be around to judge them about their wear. An article proved when girls are free from the presence of boys, they will concentrate on their work instead of hanging out with the other gender. Girls are more likely to study math and science when they have a girls-only school. Gender-specific schools can get rid of gender stereotypes so that no one will be judged for what they like. There are some gender-specific schools that are boosting confidence and test scores. Girls and boys learn differently with brain development, so gender-specific schools will be beneficial for learning for each gender. In mixed-gender schools, girls are more likely to give in to peer pressure. This shows that girls and boys in separate schools can benefit both genders. Changing to gender-specific schools can make the learning community a lot better.
Imagine if the school was single gender. You wouldn't have half of your friends that you have now.
Mixed gender schools are better than single gender schools because it is a useful system.
One argument is lack of school performances in gender-based schools. Also, mixed gender schools provide real-world experiences. Mixed gender schools include all people and do not promote stereotypes. Our first argument is lack of our research on single-gender schools. Gender-based schools do not actually provide academic performances. In 2014, researchers did a study on single-sex schooling. Their complete review found no real advantage for boys over girls over co-ed schools. According to professors of gender studies, he said much of so-called science of different sex school has been debunked. We should not have gender-based school because there is no science to show it works.
Our second argument is affecting real-world aspects. Critics say single-sex classrooms fail to prepare kids for life outside of school.
Boys are being deprived of the opportunity to develop crucial skills such as thinking collaboratively and thinking critically, which girls are being denied the opportunity to build test-taking skills and learn how to succeed under pressure. We separate both boys and girls and also know how to work with them mutually. Because of this, mixed gender schools are more beneficial. The final argument is that single-sex schooling isn't all-inclusive and promotes stereotypes. King Street Junior High classes are different temperatures and arranged differently, and colors are different according to gender. They argue that single-sex schooling helps reinforce harmful gender stereotypes, including boys can't sit still and girls are more reserved. Not every boy and girl learn the same, so don't generalize it. Mixed-gender schools are more beneficial because girls and boys learning doesn't teach them how jobs and life outside of school will be. Life after school won't be separated by gender, so why should school be?
To prepare your votes.
Our opponent may say that girls and boys may act differently when they are around each other, but when they are apart, they act better and are more disciplined. There's a quote by Angela Brown, the principal at Dillard School. She said that boys in single-sex classes had better attendance than those in co-educational classes, as well as better scores on state reading and math tests. But the biggest improvement was a decline in disciplinary infractions and bullying. Boys are trying to impress girls, and girls are trying to impress boys, Ms. Brown said. We have removed that variable out of the way. Boys think they are cool when they get into trouble and think the girls think it's cool, but we really don't. Don't get it twisted. Girls can do the same as boys. Another reason is that they have different learning styles and as well as interests in most cases. Generally competitive lessons may be more impactful for boys, and that lessons that incorporate emotions and emotional vocabulary may have more impact for girls. Teachers were also advised to be more tolerant of boys' need to fidget or girls.
My opponent may say that single-sex schooling will provide like girls and boys to stop worrying about their looks and focus on studies. But the research says that after being in a multi-gendered schools, girls and boys are more confident in themselves. They also said that it will reduce pregnancy and dropout rates. But like for pregnancy rates, girls and boys will want to hang out more after school. So like they'll be like more desperate because they haven't seen them like all day and stuff. So like it doesn't like stop them from seeing each other outside of school. And yeah, girls and boys like learn differently, but girls don't all learn the same and guys don't all learn the same. So there's no reason to like put them in a school and make them learn a certain way when in like the school we learn like multiple different ways because some girls learn the same as boys and boys learn the same as girls, so there's no reason to like separate it if it's working now.
For my closing statement, gender schools are debated about a lot and argumented, such as is it better for boys or girls, or is it sexist? But it is good in most scenarios. As we said in the beginning, many schools are switching or are single-sex classes. This proves that single-sex schools are very good for both sexes as they perform better in different temperatures and they are not distracted by each other and are not affected by peer pressure. There are 750 public schools with single-sex classes. The reason these classes work are because the boys and the girls are not focused on each other and focused on their work. This shows that single-sex classes help in educating children rather than mixed schools. In conclusion, single-sex schools are better for education and should be continually used throughout the world.
Single-gender schools lack some of the most important learning students get in mixed-gender schools. One reason why single-gendered schools aren't beneficial is because lack of school performance. Mixed-gender schools give students real-world aspects. And finally, multi-gender schools are all-inclusive and do not provoke stereotypes. Do you really want your future kids and the generations after us to not have friends of other gender and not experience what it's really like out of school? Single-gender schools don't make sense and aren't